Today, I want to delve into one of my favorite areas of the market, and I'm going to share one indicator every investor needs to watch to know when it's about to take off. Hi, I'm Matthew Carr, Chief Trend Strategist at the Oxford Club. Thank you for watching this episode of Market Trends. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on my best trading ideas, which I share here each and every week. Okay, so let's talk about initial public offerings, IPOs. Those are three letters investors and Wall Street love to hear.
We accept that one of us. Google got one of us. We accept that one of us. Google got
First and foremost, I believe the majority of investors invest in IPOs completely wrong. I went into this recently on my site, Profit Trends. So if you haven't signed up for that, be sure to do so. But essentially, investors get caught up in FOMO. They act recklessly. And statistically, regardless of how often its name is mentioned on financial news networks or in tweets, you're practically guaranteed to lose money the first 6 months of trading in any IPO.
No, God!
So with that in mind, let's take advantage of the fact that IPOs are taking a breather for a moment. But this pause won't last long. In fact, I think we see it surge very, very soon. To illustrate what makes me excited right now about the potential for IPOs, let's take a step into our way back machine. All right, if we think back to 2020, early 2020, a lot of investors felt that the world was going to end, right? We had the fastest sell-off in market history as concerns over COVID-19 spread. It was a very difficult time. And I was telling investors not to panic. I even did a video here saying that event-driven sell-offs like what we were seeing at that time are extremely short-lived, that will see this big snapback. Now, in 2020, there was a massive slowdown in IPOs in the first and second quarters. The markets were a mess, right? Companies, investors, VCs, everybody was panicked. All of that completely understandable. But in the third quarter of 2020, the number of IPOs more than doubled from the second quarter.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie. No matter what the score was, we're gonna finish hard, we're gonna finish fast. Sometimes in life, you're gonna start slow. That's okay. But it took guts, it took an attitude. That's all it takes.
By the end of 2020, we had seen the fastest pace of IPOs in a decade. That pace then more than doubled in 2021 to a new all-time record. So what happened, right? In a nutshell, first, the world didn't end. That was number one. COVID's still here, but so are we.
Oh, thank God.
Second, the IPO market watches the VIX, the volatility index, probably more than anyone else in the market. And when volatility spikes, new issues pause. In the first and second quarters of 2020, where the VIX was averaging 60 and above, no company is going to go public in that environment. It's too high risk, it's too volatile. But what happened was, in the third quarter of that year, the VIX fell back down to 20. We had this steep decrease. That's an important level, 20, right? That's considered a safer market. And in 2021, the VIX tumbled below 20 and stayed below that, which is an ideal IPO environment. In January of 2022, IPOs were steaming along at their fastest pace in 21 years. It looked like we were going to have another record year of IPOs. But all of a sudden, we have this tech sell-off because the Fed is going to raise rates. Russia invades Ukraine. That sends commodity prices sky high. Concerns about inflation start ramping up. The VIX rockets to above 30. And it stays elevated at that level. At the same time, the number of IPOs fall 51% year over year. Right? This market is very sensitive to volatility and is extremely sensitive to readings on the VIX. But what that means, just like we had in early 2020, there's this supply of IPOs that were pushed to the sidelines, waiting for calmer seas. And what they're waiting for is the VIX to get back to 20 or below. At the end of March, the VIX fell below 20 for the first time since mid-January. Now we're right at that level. We're staying right there as the market conditions are improving. Earnings are making everybody a little bit more optimistic. That's the signal that the IPO market has been waiting for. That's the green light. So we're at this point where all the public offering supply that was moved to the sidelines in those first few months of 2022, well, they're now going to start making their way back into the market, back into the channels. This means we're going to have a big push for IPOs in just the next few months. Now, if you want to know more about the right way to invest in IPOs and how to get a second chance at being an early investor, I've created an entire presentation on the 5 metrics I look at that are part of my IPO code. The link for this presentation is in the description, so be sure to check it out. Well, I'm Matthew Carr, Chief Trend Strategist for the Oxford Club. Thank you for watching this episode of Market Trends. As always, here's the high returns.